Okay, no alternates to seat. Anyone have a chance to look at the minutes, and is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Pam made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
15 seconds. Okay, is there any discussion, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Jordan's abstaining. Okay. Okay, no public to participate. So, treasurer's report.
It was virtually unchanged from last month, with a remainder of $491.02 and $2161.22 in the special fund.
Did you repeat those numbers, Grace?
The same as last month, Jean.
I didn't hear them.
$491.02.
I'm sorry, Grace, you're breaking up. I did not hear the numbers.
491.02.
Thank you.
Is that after that taking care of the website? Reimbursing Lori?
Unfortunately, I did finally submit that to Diane, but she's out of the office. So I don't know whether, according to Lori, it was only $31 and something. And then Jean questioned whether that was the whole amount, and that's kind of still up in the air.
No, not up in the air. It's all good. Just that amount, Grace.
So did you talk to Ruby? Because the website itself will be over $100 to renew.
Yeah, that did renew. I didn't submit it. I'm not requesting it. And that was a long time ago. It's like December. So I'm not requesting.
You could still submit it.
No, I figure when it's on auto renew, these charges slip in. And I don't always look carefully at my credit card statement. That's exactly what it did. So I'm not requesting it. I'm good.
There's no reason we can't. We have the budget to do it, and it's been put in the budget for that.
Yeah, we want to spend it. It's good.
Okay.
It's good to pay you. We want the line item.
Okay. Well, it was December 2022 that it came.
Yes.
Okay.
So just let Grace know.
All right. I will. It's not a lot of money anyways. It's 149 or something like that. So, okay, I'll get that and I'll submit it.
It has to be done before the 30th.
Yeah, I'll do it. If it doesn't happen, I'm not worried, but I'll submit it later today.
Yeah, but it's good for us to spend down all the money we can, because that looks good for next year's budget.
Okay.
Otherwise, we won't get as much money at appropriations time.
Okay, I'll submit it.
Thanks.
And I had submitted receipts today for in the neighborhood of $80 for 2 shrubs that I purchased for the pollinator garden at the Grange. That just got submitted today.
Good. Okay, any further questions for the treasurer?
Well, with those 2 balances, it does seem that we have adequate money. I have not ordered the books that we said, approved me ordering to give to the libraries. And I was holding off because I wasn't sure what the website total was. So it would be under $100 to buy 4 books. 2 of them would be the book I spoke of, Nature's Best Hope. And if 2 of the libraries already have it, so there's another book that we could donate, also by Doug Talamay, called The Nature of Oaks. But I'd have to get you guys to say, okay, that's okay to spend the money. And if that's all okay, I'll place that order this evening and get the receipt to Grace right away.
Okay, well, let's take care of it. Make a motion and let's pass it. because we have at least $250 more to spend. So we want to spend down. So make the motion and.
Well, we'd already approved the purchase of Nature's Best Hope.
Oh,
but I'm asking. All right, I make a motion that we substitute the Nature of Oaks for 2 copies of Nature's Best Hope for the purchase that we previously approved for the libraries.
Okay, is there a second? Or is there anyone have discussion or question on it?
No.
So,
I second. Maura seconds.
Okay, Maura seconds. So no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Good. Anyone abstain? Yeah, we want to spend all the money. It's a good thing. Any other questions for the treasurer?
Are we now going to have surplus money to maybe, I don't know if we want to buy more medallions. I think at this point we should have people purchasing the medallions themselves instead of just giving them out because they're $10 a piece. What are your thoughts about that? The medallions being for the pollinator pathway.
I don't think that's asking people to purchase their own, right? That's part of the, hey, here's $10 to you know, to show your commitment, right? Like you're involved, but also, you know, you're contributing. That $10 isn't going in a black hole somewhere, right? I don't think that's a hard sell.
I'm having bad connection problems, so I'm not sure exactly what you said.
He agrees with you that we should sell the medallions.
Sell them, okay.
Yeah.
Well, do we purchase any this year at all?
I don't recall if we purchased them this year or if we purchased them before the end of the last. No, I think what we did is we tried to purchase them at the end of the budget year last year, but we didn't get the request for reimbursement done in time. So that went into this year's budget. Was that correct, Grace?
I don't know, and I don't have the chart in front of me, so I can't look it up.
Do we have any medallions left over?
I do not know where they are, if we have any, and I will need one for the pollinator garden at the Grange. So we'll need at least one.
I did think you had them.
Well, if I have them, I mean, there weren't that many. There was one in the trifold case, which is now someplace. I gave it to somebody, and there were a handful of them. I don't know where they are, Grace. I have not been able to go to the cabinet at the town hall to look inside.
Do you want? We still have some money left. You want to like buy 5 of them for just to have on hand for us?
I think that if we're going to, you know, if we have things like Girl Scout projects come along like we did, I think it'd be good to have a small handful of them.
Okay, I agree. So make a motion. Right. Let's spend the money.
I make a motion that we purchase 5 pollinator pathway medallions to be gifted to civic organizations or Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts that put in pollinator gardens.
Can we do more since we have more money?
Yeah, we could, but you know, do we need more than 5?
I'll use them. Don't they get cheaper as you order more?
Oh.
No, they're charging $10 a piece last time I checked, because that's what it costs them to produce them. And there's probably shipping involved too.
Well, the shipping should be order more than 5.
What is the consensus of the group?
How much money is left?
Well,
does anybody know?
490 minus 144 was the website. minus 80 that Jean has, and that's
And then the
Oh.
books would be
The books.
42 and which
It's 153.02 in case it's going to make a little difference. The website.
it'll be about $80 for the 4 books.
Oh, 80. Did you take that into consideration, Laurie? The 80, and she said 40, but then she said 80 for the books.
So
There's $250 left, give or take a couple bucks. If you buy
How much? 150?
about 250, and if you take out the 5 for the 5 medallions, they'll still have about $200 left after that.
So I'll order 10 medallions. I will buy 10 medallions. I make a motion that I purchase 10 medallions to have on hand for projects, civic projects involving pollinator gardens.
I have a question.
Okay.
So if we don't spend all the money by June 30th, do we not get that full amount next year? Do they take that into consideration?
No,
It is taken into
could.
consideration. Yeah.
They could.
they
But
could, but they have
historically-
not in the past.
It's not like it rolls over.
No,
Right.
I know. So maybe we should just get more because
Well, hang on.
Why not?
It's what? How much for the website? 150
153.02. And then
plus
there was
80.
the small amount that I submitted over the weekend, which was, what was that, Grace? Remember, 34?
31 something.
Yeah.
So that's like 186 plus 80 is 260.
plus another 80.
Yeah. So
80 for
we don't have.
books, 80 for plants.
Anyone have a calculator? It's
Well,
less than
and I
250
just
that we have
input
left.
here unless receipts are actually submitted before June 30th. It's not going to come out of this budget.
Correct. So
The fact
by
that
tomorrow,
we
everybody
have
has to
this
submit.
much, the fact that we have this much money left over this year, I wouldn't get hysterical about doing these things out of next year's budget.
I
Just
disagree because we don't know what we're going to want to do next year. I will have my receipts to you by tomorrow, Grace.
That's
So
fine. If they're processed, we're fine.
right, but could someone add up? Can someone add up-
$346-ish, around $350.
Okay.
And
so we
then
have
if we
100
buy, as if we buy 10 medallions,
okay, we're
that's
still
100
good.
plus whatever the shipping
Okay.
is. We still have plenty.
Okay. So you want to change your motion there, Jean?
I did order
Okay.
10 medallions.
Okay. Is there a second for that?
I second it.
Jordan seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Any other questions for our treasurer? Okay. Chairman's report. I'm glad to be back.
How was Japan?
Wonderful. Yeah.
I'm glad you
Sushi capital of the world.
Okay.
I tried, and I was in a taxi cab your time, 8 p.m. and I tried to get on through Zoom, and I was blocked. So I didn't forget
dedication.
about you guys. I just, Japan, the
That's
taxi
unexpected.
drivers' Wi-Fi just wouldn't do it.
He should deal with the Wi-Fi here in Woodstock. It's even better.
Yeah. Okay.
It was
Communication.
fine, Lee. Worked out fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, I read the minutes. Communications. Anything, Crystal or Grace?
The only thing was an invitation to the Gold Award Pollinator Garden, which Jean had told us about. for June 12th and from Dylan, the girl who got the award.
Right.
But other than that, nothing.
Crystal, you got anything?
No, I do not.
Okay. I guess the only other communication, Gene, you sent that thing from state of Connecticut on Conservation Commission's role, the environmental role that we should be playing.
I did get that. I sent it to you, and then I completely forgot about it. So
yeah, I forwarded it to everybody. It was, I thought it was fantastic. It like opens up our role. It says, yes, we are supposed to deal with environmental issues, and yes, everything, all the projects we've been doing are actually in line with what the state of Connecticut is now recommending conservation commissions perform. So I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, good job.
Pat ourselves on the back. No, we can all pat ourselves on the back, not just me. It's just being symbolic.
Yeah, so I think we've really been proactive. When I'll forward it to everybody, but when you read it, you'll go, yeah, we've been doing that. We've been doing, the saltwater issue, and our attention to our aquifers, and everything we've been doing. Now that the state's saying, yeah, that's appropriate for conservation commissions. So good. It's good job, everybody. So old business, DRC, Gene.
I've been looking through the agendas of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I haven't seen any business that required the DRC to become involved.
Okay.
So no action.
Yeah, Crystal, open space.
I was not able to attend the June 8th meeting, but just from reviewing the minutes, there was some committee reports, and yeah, that's all I've got.
Okay. And as Gene said, P&Z, there's nothing having to do with us. Grace, anything with Ag Commission?
Nothing that really concerns us, except of course I did fill out the paperwork for celebrating agriculture, telling them that we will be there
in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Okay.
It's September 23rd.
Okay.
Do we have a theme for that yet?
Do they have a theme for it, or do we have a theme?
Do we have a theme?
Do you have an idea?
Yeah, I thought Pollinator Pathway we were gonna.
Well, we already have something, and it's a new audience that may see it. And I have always said that wildlife corridors don't understand political boundaries. So I know Brooklyn is not involved in pollinator pathways at this time. It might be an opportunity to spread the message, but if somebody else has another theme, I say go for it.
Yeah, I'd say maybe we want something there, just making people aware of the Eversource project, because it'll be coming to other towns eventually. So just
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Stewardship, should we keep that on the agenda? Is anyone paying attention to it?
Grace is
yeah, I did get your spreadsheet. I have not been up on it. I've been very busy with birds and some stuff down at Goodwin, but
no horseshoe crabs this year.
Yes, yeah, a couple of those too.
I was gonna say you're slacking, Grace.
The piping plovers and the Canada geese and everybody else, horseshoe crabs have been in there, and they actually some legislation went down to hopefully stop people from destroying the population, which obviously upsets me no end. But no, as I said, I did wish to speak with Jim. You are here, Jim, aren't you?
Jim's not
No, I
here.
don't see him here.
Sure, he chickened out. But anyway, I will get in touch with him and see if we can't touch base with some of these properties and see what's going on.
Okay. Thank you, Grace. Pollinator pathway, and just to mention that State of Connecticut Conservation Commission article specifically mentioned pollinator pathways, so you're pre-cognizant there, Jean. Way ahead of the curve. So
what can I say?
Anything on
yes,
pollinator pathway?
Jim, Crystal, you were there too, and I were at the Town Beach dedication of the pollinator garden. It's a nice little garden up by the area that used to be the bathhouses. And I presented Dylan with a pollinator pathway medallion to put into the garden and thanked her for her work. So I hope that we get many more Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and whatever Scouts or 4-H'ers or whatever following up and doing more of these projects. So I'm grateful that the Conservation Commission has approved the purchase of more medallions, so because we might have a run on them again. I met with Amy Monahan at Senexit Grange, and we selected a potential pollinator garden site at the property. It'll be very visible from Route 169. It will need someone to donate backhoe services to get in there and loosen up the soil and mix in some compost, because that whole parking lot area is on fill. So we'll have to rejuvenate the soil. Maybe we can bring over some leaf compost from the transfer station for that purpose. I was able to pick out 2 plants from Sprucedale Gardens that were within our budget. Actually, it was much under our budget because they had their famous scratch and dent sale. And I poked around through there after talking with Joyce and looking at their markup on the other plants they sell. And I picked out a nice oak leaf hydrangea, which is a native plant. And I was also able to pick out a bottle brush bush, Father Gia or whatever. They're 2 very nice shrubs that will bloom at different periods and be a good plants to put into the garden. Joyce Larson said she'll help me design the garden, and she will make a list of plants and price ranges. If we want to solicit people to donate plants to this garden, they could either do it by purchasing the plants and bringing them over on the day we plant the garden, or another alternative is that they can purchase a gift certificate in the amount of the plant they want to donate, and then we'll figure out how to get it from Sprucedale to the planting site. I have a question for Crystal. She might know the answer to this. We have the special account, and is it okay for people to donate money to the Conservation Commission for a special project like this garden at the Grange, and we put the money in the special account for that purpose?
I think that would be okay, but I would double check that with the finance office to be sure.
Okay. I greatly appreciate it if you did, because I'm looking at all the different ways that we can get people to donate. There's going to be some expenses that won't be just buying plants. And if we get people to make donations to cover those expenses, and we have it in our special account, this will be above our budgeted amount for the year and won't affect our budget because it's for a special project.
Which
okay.
let me say, Gina, on that thing you sent out, it also mentioned one of our responsibilities is, doing gifts and giving gifts, and that's a role they also recommended. So again,
Perfect.
ahead of the curve.
So this is a way that we can, ask people to donate to this particular project. But I have the 2 shrubs at my house, and I will take care of them until the garden is installed. I don't anticipate the garden being installed until August or September, depending on the rainfall situation, because this is a place where, first of all, I want to give enough time to get people involved, advertise it, and, let people and work with Joyce. She hasn't designed the garden for me yet. And then in the fall is a good time for planting things. So I will be watering those. They're right next to my rain barrel, so I could take care of them. So that's the update on the pollinator project at the Senexit Grange. That'll be a memory garden for people who have lost loved ones. Any questions?
I have a couple.
Jason, I didn't hear you.
Here's a couple questions.
Okay.
So the first was on the first pollinator garden over at Pond Factory. I went over there. Lovely. I talked to Dylan's dad. And I guess he spent a fair amount of time and energy pumping water up out of the pond in order to get that adequately watered while the roots set. Is there a possibility of like maybe adding on to that existing project? Because there's no way to water that stuff really, right? There's no follow-up plan. So I was thinking maybe a rain barrel. I don't know if anybody, had any plans on like next steps there.
You mean at the town beach?
At Town Beach, yeah. I went there and it's lovely, and I was there actually also at the opening.
I'm sorry, I didn't notice you. I would have said hello.
Yeah, so no worries. So, but it seemed like if it weren't for Dylan's father running a pump up from the pond, it would have been a rough opening day.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that. Because we had discussed putting a pollinator garden at the town beach, but we discussed the situation with watering and maintenance. So we kind of didn't do it, and then she decided to do it, and I'm like, great. And I guess they were hauling water up from the pond by buckets too. I don't know. I didn't look if there were gutters on that building where the bathrooms are. It is possible, if there is a gutter there, we can install a rain barrel, and a rain barrel would cost like $150 to have a water source on site for watering that garden. But I don't know if there's gutters. I don't think there is.
If there is, I just thought of that also because to Lee's point about spend the money while you got it. And I was like, geez, it looks like we're going to be left with about $120 left. So I was trying to connect the dots there. The other question I had is, if we have people get gift certificates to Spursdale, would we ask for any limits on the plants that are purchased so that there's not counterproductive plants?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. We're going to make a list of what plants we want and how many. And if somebody is going to make a purchase, they're going to have to be in touch with me or Spruceville Gardens or something to say, okay, I'm going to do this one and this, so we can like continuously update people on what plants are still needed to finish the garden. I'm willing to do that and communicate through Facebook, but not everybody's on Facebook. And I'm looking at a picture of the bathrooms at the town beach, and there are no gutters on the building. So we wouldn't be able to put in a rain barrel.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so thank you for doing that, because I would just hate to have people say, oh, I'm happy to contribute. And I was walking through and I saw this beautiful,
burning bush.
I saw
I hope they're not selling burning bush.
I think there's that much money for gutters, Gene.
Excuse me?
Not that much money for putting a gutter there so you can do the rain barrel.
Well, we don't even know if we need the rain barrel, because shouldn't a pollinator garden be kind of be self-sustaining just with rain?
Well, the
No, it's a
idea
rain
is that
garden.
some of the native plants are very deep rooted plants, and they are adapted for our climate, so they can withstand dry periods and wet periods, because that's what we get.
Yeah.
I think some of the plants in that mix, I'm trying to remember what I looked at them. There was mountain mint that should do fine. There was Monarda, which will spread. Couple of them are they had turtle head.
Butterfly bush in the middle, which I was surprised.
There was a big butterfly bush in the middle, and so I don't remember every single plant, but I kept thinking the turtle head. The deer will absolutely love that one because they chomp the flowers off, the flower buds off of mine if they're not in a protected area. But it's a beautiful idea, and it can hopefully the plants that are in there will spread and look nice. But in terms of watering, I don't have any suggestions. Hopefully the family will continue to care for it till it becomes established.
That's what I wanted to add, because probably they'll need to do some maintenance, yearly maintenance and weeding and stuff until it gets really filled in.
Yeah, or the Girl Scouts.
And the other, what's that?
Yeah, or the Girl Scouts that follow
hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that'll be the case. Dylan has graduated from high school and will be going to college next year, so she won't be around unless she's home in the summer. So in terms of maintenance, that's, somebody's going to have to just take it on, and hopefully someone on the street or something will adopt it and take care of it.
I mean, we could try to seek someone out, because I don't think that's going to happen unless somebody is told, because Jean, when we've installed rain gardens, even when people say they're going to take care of them, no offense to anybody, but they don't. And maybe we can identify somebody in the area. And also to just add on to that, so then I would say, as far as the one at the Grange, is somebody there willing to take on watering and maintenance that you know of?
Well, I had that conversation. I had that conversation with Amy, and I said, Amy, I'm picking shrubs because they're the lowest maintenance plant. Trees and shrubs are going to be the lowest maintenance plants that I could recommend. I know people will want to put herbaceous plants in, but somebody's going to have to take care of them. And I don't want to do that to Amy, because I know damn well it's going to be Amy who's out there watering that garden. So, and she'd have to be hauling water in buckets because there is no outside spigot at the Grange. So hopefully when she gets people there at Grange meetings, okay, let's quickly go water the garden. And after a while, it won't need it. Just that first year while it's becoming established, it's going to need some help.
Back to the one at the Pine Factory. Do you think shooting Dylan an email and saying, is there anyone, in the Girl Scout troop who may want to just kind of look over things? Because she'd probably be the best contact person.
I don't have it.
And if she put in so much work, just saying, hey, if you want this to really thrive, it needs to have.
Does someone have her contact info?
I have her information.
Can you pass it to Jean?
Yes.
Thanks. Hey, anything else with Pollinator Pathway? So, Crystal, anything up?
One more thing for Pollinator Pathway. I'm sorry. Didn't connect the dots that this was also Pollinator Pathway subject. there is the Woodstock Day again being organized by Senexit Grange. They'll have a breakfast at the Grange starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're going to have vendors set up. They decided they won't have any vendors down at Chase Lumber this year. All the vendors will be upstairs in the Grange Hall, which makes it a lot more convenient. And the vendors are only going to have to be set up from 9 to noon. And I told Amy that I will, and anybody wants to come with me, I will set up the pollinator pathway trifold at that event in the upstairs. And I'm, as a member of the regional pollinator pathway initiative representing everybody, conservation, garden club, ECCD, I had made a personal donation to a seedling project so they can buy potting soil. And I made a donation of many different kinds of native plant seeds. And these seedlings were brought to Spring Valley Farm at UConn. And the students there in the horticultural program germinated these seeds, and they're coming along at the greenhouse. And because I made the donation, I'm allowed to have some of these plants, which I will pick up before August 8th and have them available to give away to people who sign up for the Pollinator Pathway Initiative or can have already signed up for the Pollinator Pathway Initiative. So we'll have free pollinator plants.
Oh, that's great.
So does anybody want to sit with me for 3 hours at the top the floor of the Grange? At least it's
And what is the date?
August 8th, and it's not going to rain on us because we'll be inside. There'll be no wind. And we could do any other outreach we want to do too.
So
probably be hotter than hell though.
You're
I'm
saying
sure they don't
August
have AC.
which is a Tuesday.
I'll join you, Jean.
Is it the
It's a Tuesday? No.
Yeah.
No, it's then I have the wrong date.
Yeah, you do.
5th or the 12th.
I'll join you.
Thank you. It's the 5th. I don't know why I had the 8th in mind. It's the 5th. Locally grown day at Senexit Grange. If I didn't have this, I'd be lost.
Jordan volunteered. Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan.
Anything else?
It's the what day? What month?
It's August 5th. It's a Saturday, 9 o'clock till noon.
Very good.
Okay, Crystal, anything with Sustainable Connecticut?
Tomorrow at 11, I'm planning to attend a webinar on Eversource's lighting incentive program that is being run through Sustainable Connecticut. And they're going over utility incentives available for LED lighting upgrades for Connecticut towns and schools, and how the towns can secure those incentives while they're still available. So I'm going to try to attend that and see if that's something that we can look into as a municipality.
Okay. Any questions for Crystal? Which is a segue into the Eversource project. I saw that Jay was here last month. Is there any word or update?
Yeah, he did put in a call to Bill Rathbone, and he also spoke with John, and John and Bill consulted on the marked trees from the Pomfret line to the beginning of Woodstock Park Road, and both of them agreed that the major issue is liability if a tree stays and later causes a problem. And the ones that Jay discussed and the ones listed were either dead, dying, or had been really severely trimmed on one side and in the past and were pretty lopsided. So
yeah, that's responsible. Okay.
Crystal, I have a question. Do you know what they meant when they said that they discussed liability? Because if they were talking about the possibility that the town or someone might be responsible for charges or costs incurred as a result of the tree failing and falling. It was my understanding that Eversource said that that's not something that would happen. They can't impose any kind of liabilities. But is it something else, perhaps?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I bet it's something else. If it would happen to fall in a car or in the block road.
Well, it makes sense to cut down dead trees.
Yeah.
It always has. So if it's, as far as the dead trees, I don't think that there's any question about how sensible it is to take them down. But there were some trees that they selected that were going to stay, and they were trees that were slated that were on the hit list, but they decided that some were going to stay. And they were healthy trees, and what I was trying to figure out is if what that liability issue was and how it could be relevant to one set of acceptable trees and not the others.
Great. Well, good. Well, it sounds like, Eversource at least is listening to us and the town's helping us. Kudos to Jay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on Eversource?
No.
So before we move to new business, it looks like we had public join us.
Yes.
Ray, Pam Morgan, is there anything you need to bring up to our august body?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Hey, you guys, we just like to keep a pulse on everything. You guys are doing an awesome job. I see you've been quite busy. And I do appreciate you bringing the public comments in again toward the end. I know it wasn't on the agenda. It was early on the agenda. We had a little difficult time getting in. But no, I got nothing. My hat's off to everyone. Hey, you guys are doing good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone have an opportunity to attend any workshops or know of any workshops coming up? Jean.
Yale Forest is doing their summer seminar series, which is a free series of talks at their forestry camp in Eastford. I attended the one 2 weeks ago, and it was on invasive jumping worms, which was very interesting, but very depressing. These are worms that are native to Asia, and they were imported to the United States, and they've been introduced. I think she gave the history of it. They were introduced in New York City. There's places in New York City where all the topsoil's gone because they fell down the hill, because the way these jumping worms work, they eat all the duff on the surface of the soil, and they create worm castings, which kind of don't stick together. They look like coffee grounds. And then when it rains, they all wash to the bottom of the hill, and it's had some negative impacts on the forest understory in New York City, where these things have been in place for a long time. These worms have spread. I know them to be in our area. I have them in my yard, probably because I've shared plants with people and they got introduced to my gardens. So it was not encouraging when she said, we still haven't figured out what we could do about it. But they've been here a long time, and they're not going anywhere. I'm
just looking at a picture of them, Jean. They look like earthworms.
They look similar to earthworms, but they do have differences. There's a band around an earthworm called, I think it's a clitellum, and it's closer to the head region in a jumping worm than in your standard earthworm. And it goes completely around the worm, where it's only partially around the worm in one of our other worms. No worms are native to this area. All the worms we have here are introduced species because we lost all our worms with the glaciers scraping the topsoil off. But these worms in particular, they're a threat to our forests. And I know that in the garden club, we're aware of them. I did not donate any plants to the garden club that I didn't dig up, wash the root system off, and repot in potting soil so that I was not spreading worms. The Goodwin Forest canceled their plant sale because of jumping worms. So I mean, this is something that's a reality, that these worms are here and they still don't know. There's research ongoing, but they still don't have an answer on how to control them.
And
How
there's
they
no
deal with them in Asia?
recommendations.
How they deal with them in Asia?
I asked that question. It was really wonderful to be there in person and ask this person. She's renowned for her research on the subject. In Asia, they have a lot more species of these worms, and they keep each other in check, so they don't have the problems in Asia.
There's the answer. Bring more worms.
No, we don't know what the consequences of that would be. So, I mean, she was talking about places at the bottom of a hill where these worm castings, well, like I said, they look like coffee grounds. You can like stick your hand down up to your elbow with no resistance because they're that deep. And because of all the air spaces between these castings, any seedling that tries to grow in them dries out because there's so, the water just evaporates out of them. It's pretty frightening to think about. Sorry, Jason?
So they're making sand instead of soil.
Yeah, they're making crap. I think the idea is to find a way to harvest the crap and mix it with something and make something useful. But I don't know. Like I said, there's research going on about it. It was good to hear that there are some ideas that are hopeful. If you want to get rid of them in your garden, you're not going to, but you can piss them off by putting mustard in water and pouring it on your soil because it aggravates them and they come up to the surface. And then you could pick them all up and put them in soapy water and they'll die. That's what people do. I'm not going to go to that extreme, but it was interesting to hear some of the things that people are doing to try to get rid of these worms. So this week, there is another talk, and it's managing uncertainty, how forest management strategies can influence adaptive capacity. So that's this Wednesday night. The program starts at 6:30. And it was nice to see that after years of having nothing, they had plentiful liquid refreshments available for free to anybody who came to the talk. So there was beer and wine and soft drinks and whatnot. And it's a nice way to socialize with people I know in the forest. So there'll be two more after that. One of them, I think Maura would be very interested in, but did you get the invitation, Maura?
Yeah, there was one on July 12th and the other one on July 26th.
Yes, I'm very familiar with them. It's right down the street from me.
Yeah, there's nice. One on establishing silvopastures, increasing carbon storage in northeastern U.S. I thought that might be of interest to you, just because of your work with NRCS. Anyway, that was that.
Any other workshops? Okay, then move on to open discussion, Jean.
Okay, well, this one I just saw on Facebook today. Apparently there was a gasoline spill at the town beach. Somebody was fueling their boat and spilled gas in the beach. So they had to close the beach until it's deemed safe for people to go there again. Not quite sure why there was a boat that had gasoline engine at the town beach. There's no boat launch there, but that is something that's going on.
So I know that soil and water were collected today and taken to be tested, and they're not sure. The person who found it assumed it was oil because there was a sheen, and but it is being tested.
Oh, so okay. So I'm glad it's being tested. Did it smell like petroleum?
I didn't.
Or do you not?
I didn't open the lid. There was a jar of sand and a jar of water, and I didn't.
Okay.
I was busy doing payroll today, so I didn't closely inspect it. I did.
Well, I know it's not your job. I was just curious because I saw that Channel 4 News said they said it could have been.
Nobody reached out to the town for information. This was what they were saying. was a little bit of a surprise to us too, because it didn't come from us.
Yeah, they said something about iron bacteria, which is a naturally occurring bacteria that when it's metabolizing its byproduct of metabolism will make an oily sheen, and it does sometimes appear similar to a petroleum spill, but it behaves differently. But I don't know why they knew that was possibly what's being tested for and not a gasoline spill.
I think it was a slow news day in Connecticut. I liked the WSSB picture of the ocean. With Ducktown Beach closed, and there was like a beautiful ocean wave picture. So yeah, don't.
Well, I'd be really interested to see what that was, but yeah, I did read that it was closed because of a gasoline spill.
Yeah, no, it was just
be careful about
alleged
what you read on Facebook. Again,
well, I read it from the recreation department.
Well, I think that because when it was reported, that's what it was assumed to be. By the person who reported it, and it is being tested, and somebody did come out and samples were brought in today to be tested. So
well, hopefully it's just iron bacteria, because that's natural and it's not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
I can also report that we've got people from Witches Woods in Bungie Lake interested in being more observant and proactive about cyanobacteria potential blooms in the lake, because they've been calling my office, and we've been having one of my volunteers collect samples and look at them under the microscope, and there haven't been any cyanobacteria blooms yet. But I mean, I've been getting calls about pollen on the lake. Is this what a cyanobacteria bloom looks like? So people are more aware of cyanobacteria blooms. We do get them at Roseland Lake every summer, and we don't want them at our other lakes. So I'm glad that they're paying attention. Another news, the rain garden at the Arboretum that's at the bottom of the driveway for the Historical Society. I inspected that not too long ago, and the garden has become overgrown with poison ivy and oriental bittersweet. So we came up with a plan with the Arboretum Committee to address that, and they're doing it. They're going to first take care of the poison ivy and the oriental bittersweet, and then they have to dig out the rain garden because it got filled in when the driveway failed at the Historical Society, and it's not working as it was designed. So they are understanding that this is a problem, and they're taking steps to remediate it, which is good.
Is Beth aware?
I didn't tell her.
Okay.
I think she'd get upset.
Yeah,
so
really.
And then one more thing is Maura and I, as ECCD, are working hard on getting the Little River Watershed-Based Plan draft ready to be presented. We hope to be able to do it by the end of July. This watershed-based plan is going to focus on agriculture, best management practices, and this plan will influence federal funding that will assist our producers in Woodstock going forward. So when we present the plan, if anybody is willing and able to come to our meeting to discuss it, and we want to make sure we covered everything. So that'll be coming up, and we'll notify you at the time when it comes up.
Okay.
I think that's all I got.
Yeah. Lori?
I don't have anything.
Jason?
No, I'm good.
Maura?
Nope, I think Jean covered it.
Jordan?
For me.
Crystal? Pam?
Nope.
Grace?
Nope.
The only thing don't hit me, but I'm going to send, I'm going to forward Jean's link for the new activities that Conservation Commission should be performing. So everybody peruse it, and then think about whether we want to update our plan which I knew took, if we think about it now, maybe 10 years from now, we could update it, but something to, Jean?
Yeah. Well, maybe when I retire, I can spend more
Yeah.
time rewriting the open space and conservation plan. But
Yeah.
I mean, we've accomplished so much in the original plan, and it is desperately in need of an update. But many good things have happened that we said were important to happen. So now we need to look at next steps.
Something, just planting the seed now. So anything else for the good of the order? And if not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Anyone second?
Second it.
Meeting is adjourned. Good one, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Have a great month.
Bye.
Have a great July 4th.
Thank you.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.
Synagogue.
Bye.